DNA is a double-stranded nucleic acid that contains the genetic information for cell growth, division, and function. It is unique to each person.
DNA testing is identifying a suspect based on their unique genetic blueprint. DNA evidence can be found in many places at a crime scene, but some of the most common places law enforcement collects DNA evidence is on a weapon. Cotton swabs, toothpicks, bottles, cigarette butts, and masks. And of course, condoms.
3 types of DNA analysis are short tandem repeat analysis, STR, mitochondrial DNA analysis, and the single nucleotide polymorphism, SNP. To use STR, scientists must first amplify the DNA through polymerase chain reaction, PCR, which makes copies of the DNA, giving the scientists more DNA to analyze. They then examine how base pairs repeat in specific loci. The FBI has chosen 13 specific STR loci to serve as the standard for analysis. The chance of 2 individuals having the same base pairs repeating in those 13 loci is 1 in a billion. Mitochondrial DNA analysis is often used in cold cases because it can analyze old DNA. SNP is good for analyzing highly degraded DNA samples, but STR is more common because more forensic labs have the technology to analyze it. After DNA is analyzed, scientists compare it to the suspect's DNA. If there is the match, the suspect is considered a possible source of the DNA. Often the results are inconclusive because the DNA sample is too contaminated or degraded. Post-conviction DNA testing is a huge topic in death row cases. Right now, 48 states grant inmates some access to DNA testing.
Oklahoma and Massachusetts are the 2 states that do not have laws that give access to DNA testing.
DNA testing is expensive, but the Justice for All Act, passed in 2004, attempts to deal with this issue. It provides funding to states that have laws in place to allow inmates access to DNA testing. Another problem is because an inmate can be on death row for years, it is often that appeals come many years after the crime. If DNA is not properly stored, by the time it is tested, it is too degraded to be used.
The Innocence Project is a non-profit organization that uses DNA analysis to help prove their client's innocence. One of their clients, Ronaldo Cruz, was convicted of kidnapping, raping, and murdering 10-year-old Janine Nicario and sentenced to life without parole. In September 1995, DNA test has shown that spermatozoa that had been found couldn't have come from Cruz. He was released on November 3, 1995, after serving almost 12 years on death row. His case was dismissed, and he was set free. Should DNA testing be made mandatory in death row cases? People have many different responses to this question. Senator Cap Dirks of Emming said, "It seems to me that all we are talking about here is basic fairness, just things to make sure we don't kill innocent people." People against it think that inconclusive DNA results could get in the way of a case where the person is already clearly guilty. Though people have different feelings about DNA, the advance of DNA testing technology may mean that DNA testing is a standard procedure in the near future.